welcome to vlog number 3, and this will be the Deep Ellum / showing you around my hood edition. Cool thing is, I actually live in a loft in Deep Ellum. My elevator is not just an ordinary elevator, it's a cool freight elevator. These actually have sort of a 3D. Now, people might ask, what makes Deep Ellum Deep Ellum? For one thing, no matter how much they gentrify it, there are still areas that are still rough around the edges. I particularly like this. This is pretty close to my where I live, but this is, a few blocks away. It looks like an abandoned building of some sort. Overgrown whatevers. The areas that are rough around the edges. I like to use the word warehousey. Seems to be something that makes it different, but makes it even different than Austin. There are a lot of similarities. A lot of live music, rough around the edges in their own way, bohemian, a little bit hippie, etc., etc. Well, this is, I don't know if anybody actually lives here. That looks pretty well kept up there, but that definitely looks, it's definitely overgrown. Classic Deep Ellum graffiti. This is a post office. Unfortunately, the store, the little general store, is not open behind. This is a post office with post office boxes. It's privately run, but you can mail things here without paying to mail them. And that's a little Deep Ellum-ish, kind of like sort of a phrase you can use. Things around that you don't exactly know what they are. Industrial and so on. Like, you'll see an empty lot here and it postal center parking, but there's no lines, and it's kind of like something you'd see in a small town. It's like little bits of small town right in the middle of downtown Dallas. I think Deep Ellum would be between downtown proper and East Dallas, if you were to sort of really pull it apart. This is supposed to be some of the best ribs in the city. This is called the Monkey Noodle Company, and it's open odd hours. If they're open, there's always somebody here ordering it, which I'd say is the easternmost classic part of Deep Ellum. Dallas Comedy House. Pets are allowed. Right now we're on Main Street, by the way, where you saw that post office and so on. The main street is not Main, it's Elm. And it goes back to the olden days, you could say, early part of the last century, where people were mispronouncing the street Elm and calling it Ellum. And they'd call this Deep Ellum because it's the part of Elm Street that's under the freeway, which sort of demarks downtown from, well, Deep Ellum. I saw the gates open one time, I think it was on might have been New Year's Eve, like a party, and there was a bouncer, a big mean looking bouncer here. There's this beautiful lawn with like water features, and I'd say it goes back a couple hundred feet. So we're starting to really get into Deep Ellum. This is a leather shop, and they have all sorts of things in there, and it's fascinating. I particularly like a number of these paintings, but I particularly love, very cool, at Main and Walton. This is supposed to be a cool place. I've never actually eaten here. It's called the All Good Cafe. Great, like, Saturday morning place to go. And there's live music. Oh, there's a band playing now. A lot of times I'll walk by this place and there's no one there. This is kind of happening tonight. Let's cross the street and see what's going on. Oh, I love the weather tonight, by the way. You can't feel that necessarily on the phone. For those of you who know of my portfolio of pictures that I had taken recently, one of them that might look very familiar when I was crossing the street, where I'm crossing the street with a duck. It was taken one street up. It was taken up on Elm, but pretty close to here, so it's the same skyline. Generally, most of these shops have something eclectic about them. Another awesome thing, even though it's almost 9 at night, stuff goes on. Very much like an artist community in New York. It's another thing this reminds me of is Soho, or at least the way Soho used to be. That would be another analogy. This is a tattoo removal place. This is actually a tattoo removal place, and they have some local artists that are selling their wares here. So you can get rid of your art and get your art all in the same day. This is a very cool place called Red, and the cool thing about this is they have a rooftop bar. Very cool motorcycles.
Oh, really good.
Now here at the corner of Malcolm X and Main is sort of where the real Deep Ellum experience begins. It starts here and goes west.